You know it's a major week of astrology when the Aries Solar Eclipse is actually not the major headline in your horoscope. Hi, my name's Haley Comet. I'm the host of Magic Monday, your weekly astrological forecast that covers not just what is happening above us planetarily, but how it is that these planetary influences work with us and through us and around us, and how it is that you can align yourself with these cosmic events in order to experience more alignment, more flow, more magic within your universe. I'm here every single week in my cosmic corner of the internet with a cosmic beverage in hand, ready to chat you through it. And my love, are you sitting down? Because this month is ending with a bang, astrologically speaking. In the month of March, we have had 2 eclipses, one of which we experienced mid-month, one of which we experienced this week. We have had Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, Mars working hard to clear its post-retrograde shadow. And there is a planet who saw all of this cosmic activity and was having a bit of FOMO. You know, this is a very sleepy, slow planet. And this is a planet who decided, hey, look at all this cosmic activity. I want to get involved. I want to stir things up. To give you some context on how rarely this planet stirs things up, this is a planet who has not entered a new sign, a new territory of the sky since 2011. And this planet decided this month, March 2025, I'm stirring things up. I'm shaking things up. I'm initiating a new chapter. So do you know which planet I'm referring to? I mean, probably the title gave it away. That would have been a fun riddle, but you probably already know that I'm referring to Neptune. Neptune saw all of this cosmic activity and said, hold my beer. It's waking up from a long slumber and it's pouncing into action, as much as this elusive planet can really pounce into action. And I say this because since 2011, Neptune has been transiting its domicile of Pisces. From a modern perspective, Neptune governs Pisces, and so it was sitting in territory where it was quite comfortable within. And something that's important to keep in mind around planets that are in territory that they're very comfortable within is that it does not make them immune to the shadow side of that planet. It kind of gives it permission to be its fullest self. Right? Just think about you at home, right? When you're in your home territory, you're going to put your feet on the couch. You're going to leave things out. You're in your own territory. So you're a little bit more free to be your authentic self, rather than if you were sitting in someone else's home, you might be a little bit more uptight. And so Neptune has been in its home turf from an modern perspective. So this kind of gives the planet permission to be its fullest self. And certainly when Neptune is Neptuning, as Neptune has been Neptuning since 2011, we've witnessed this just around how mainstream and how popular spirituality has gotten. Now it is fully part of the public lexicon. Again, these practices were very much a thing, but when it comes to these spiritual topics, they were a little bit more occult or secret or not for everybody, niche, I would say. And now with Neptune and Pisces, I mean, these topics and spirituality as a whole has exploded in popularity, which I'm sure gave a sense of connection to many people's lives. This transit very well may reflect the journey that you've been on that has led you to this very moment right now, consuming this sort of content. Neptune in Pisces has a role in that. Neptune also governs screens, mirrors, and cameras. Think about how much that has evolved since 2011, how many more photos we take, how much more content is captured, how much social media has exploded in popularity. And while we can look at Neptune in Pisces and look at Neptune Neptuning and appreciate some of the gifts that it's given us for the past 14 years, Neptune most certainly has a shadow side. Neptune is the planet of illusion and delusion. It's a smokescreen planet, not being able to sort out what is real versus what is imagined. And when we think about the explosion of spirituality, this is amazing that so many people who are not into this work are now into it. But with that came blurred lines, misinformation. When we think about the explosion of social media, the dreamy energy of Neptune, so many people projecting something online that they are not actually living within their reality. And many people absorbing that and then feeling bad around the realness or the rawness of their lived experience. Neptune is also anything mind altering. And when we think about how much Big Pharma has exploded since 2011. Neptune is a planet of scams. We think about all of these bait and switch stories that have been in the media, things that were blown up to be something, but then there's no substance there. Things such as Theranos, things such as Fire Festival. Like, really, as you contemplate this chapter collectively, but also within your world, where has Neptune been Neptuning for you? So basically, Neptune is waking up out of a slumber. You know, Neptune is the dream state. Neptune's been in Pisces, so it's like kind of lost in its own world, kind of dreamy and romanticized. And Neptune is now waking up from its, 14-year dreamy slumber and through its domicile of Pisces. It's leaving its home, familiar territory, and it's going to somebody else's house where it's like, okay, I don't really know where anything is here. I feel a little uncomfortable because Neptune isn't just able to stay within its own inner dreamy world in the territory of Aries, because Aries is very much associated with taking action, being courageous enough to believe in our dreams with Neptune and Aries. Now, I want to make it clear that Neptune will retrograde back into Pisces towards the end of the year. So the journey with Neptune and Pisces, both collectively as well as within your world, it is not over quite yet. It is an ongoing story. However, we are getting the first samples, the first taste around what the next chapter of Neptune will have in store. And clearly, there is much to be said about this transit, and I did film a Neptune and Aries video, which will be dropped on my channel sometime this week, so make sure to subscribe if you don't already to look out for that. I take it all signs, the new territory of your chart that might be subject to some confusion, blurred boundaries, and romanticizing. You'll definitely want to check that out and remain cautious, okay? Trust me, the Neptune siren song is alluring, but you're going to want to be cautious. Again, the Neptune siren song is alluring, but there are rocks, okay, in the waters. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. And that video will forearm you. But outside of that, even the timing of Neptune's ingress into Aries, a transit that none of us on this planet at this time have experienced during our time here on planet Earth. This lands the day after the Aries solar eclipse, and that feels fascinating to me. Because to hone in on the solar eclipse in Aries, in typical weeks of astrology, that would be the breaking news. That would be the headline of your horoscope. But now it's a main event, but like secondary to Neptune entering a new territory of the sky since 2011. I mean, that's big news. But to hone in on the solar eclipse in Aries, this is wrapping up a chapter that has been alive in your world since April 2023. That was the first eclipse in the Aries Libra axis, and this is the final eclipse that we will experience in the Aries Libra axis. So this solar eclipse is a bit of a graduation from that story while still launching us forward, because it's a solar eclipse that indicates an eclipse on the new moon. It's on the north node. This is a new beginning, and a courageous new beginning at that. And there is this spirit at this time around ready or not, here you come. And especially with Neptune entering 0 degrees Aries the next day, the portion of the sky that speaks to pure potentiality. It's really this energy around trusting that you came here to be a part of a time such as this, and ready or not, you are ready for this next chapter. There's a lot to be said about Neptune and Aries. There is a definitive shadow side with Neptune and Aries, but in terms of our lives, there is a nudge with Neptune and Aries around having the delusion to believe in ourselves and have it work out, or stepping into the next chapter of our lives courageously and boldly, being able to fake it till we make it and then making it, essentially. And Neptune is a smokescreen. It embellishes, it exaggerates, it dissolves, it hides. There's really a reminder around the solar eclipse in Aries and Neptune entering Aries. Whether you think you can or you cannot, you're right. And that's going to be incredibly important with Neptune entering Aries and just all of the other Neptune aspects that we have this week. Because in other events this week, we have Venus re-entering Pisces, Mercury re-entering Pisces, both of which align with Neptune. We have a Mercury Kazemi. We have Mars in Cancer squaring Chiron, calling back our Mars retrograde story from December to February 2025. We have a lot to get into. We're going to need a delightful beverage in order to get into it. And you may have noticed that my delightful beverage hardly even made it to Cosmic Café. You know that the drink that I made for the week is good when I haven't even got through the intro and it's nearly gone. But yes, take a step inside my cosmic cafe. Let me know what you are sipping on to start this week. I figured with all of this novel Aries energy in the air around being bold, courageously stepping into new chapters and new possibilities, I thought what a great opportunity to make a new drink. And very true to Aries form, I would argue. I just kind of jumped into it. I didn't look up anything. I didn't do any research around how to make this beverage. I just moved off vibes. I moved off instincts and vibes, which doesn't get more Neptune entering Aries than that. To be fair, of course, it's not like I was baking a souffle on instincts and vibes. I simply was making a strawberry matcha with instincts and vibes, and it is delightful. Like, I didn't even need a recipe. And I would love to know, are you someone who's very methodical when it comes to your cooking and baking around measuring and looking up a recipe, or do you also move off instincts and vibes? I typically am more of a recipe person, but today I was like, I want a strawberry matcha. I've got strawberries. I've got matcha. I could figure this out, right? Because it's obviously not that hard, but I was just like, do I make it into a simple syrup? Do I make it into a puree? I'm sure I could have found an article and gotten the official way to make a strawberry matcha, but I found my own little way. So what I did is I just took strawberries, I put a little sugar in there, I blended it, I turned it into a little puree, I made my little matcha, and then I mixed the puree with the matcha, put in a little oat milk, then I put some frozen strawberries in there to add to the ice. I nailed it. The instincts and vibes guided me right. So let me know what drink your instincts and vibes are guiding you towards. We have a lot to discuss, so let's go ahead and take it right into Vibe Check of the Week. So if you are new here, Vibe Check of the Week is a segment in which we take all of the celestial events within our horoscope and compare it to a real life scenario. It can be hard to wrap our head around the individual nuances of all of the different aspects that are showing up this week, from the Mercury Cazimi, Mercury sextile Pluto, Mars square Chiron, Venus re-entering Pisces, Mercury re-entering Pisces. Like, it's hard to wrap our head around all of that when trying to make sense of what our week will be if you're watching at the beginning of the week, or what your week was if you're listening towards the end of the week. And so what we do is we put all of that into a cosmic blender, much like what I did with the strawberries to make my strawberry puree for my strawberry matcha, and compare what that astrology puree tastes like to a real life scenario. So you can make sense of how this energy may surface within your world. And it's not me implying that this exact situation will play out within your universe, but when you tune into energetics and vibes and emotion of it, you may see some similarities surface within your world. And so this week's planetary puree, so to speak. So we will say, for the sake of the vibe check, that you have this heartfelt dream. You know, all of this Neptune energy is always going to kick up our dreams. There's going to be a lot of energy around our dreams, what it is that we dream of, who it is that we dream of, with Venus aligning with Neptune. But we all say that the dream that you have is to be a filmmaker. You've always wanted to be a director. That is something that you've wanted since you were very young. You've always had video cameras where you would film different things. You've viewed your world in terms of what would make a good scene and what would make good dialogue. Like, that's always been a part of you, to your core, to your most raw core. But because life is lifey, that dream has very much been in the back burner, right? That dream has kind of been snoozing. Maybe you would allow yourself to, get lost in a good film and dream about different scripts that you wanted to write, but you weren't exactly taking action on that dream of yours. And you worked in an industry that was not in any way aligned to filmmaking. And we will say that you took a risk. Like, one day you just had a vibe, you got an instinct, and you were like, I'm just going to apply to this filmmaking program. It's in a faraway location than me. I don't even know if I'm qualified, but I'm just gonna shoot my shot, right? I'm just gonna shoot my shot. It required you to direct a movie and include it in with your admissions. So you cast your friends and you do it really for fun. You're like, there's no way I'm going to get in. So imagine your surprise when you do. You get into this program and now it's getting uncomfortable, because now this dream, which felt like a pipe dream to you, like now it's getting a little bit more real. And now it's like, am I gonna go? Like, this would require me to move across the country basically let go of what my life currently is in order to springboard towards what my life could be, which feels a little delusional. Like there's so much within you like that is like, this is delusional, this program is expensive, the economy is the way that the economy is, the industry is the way that it is, there's no way that you would be able to make this happen as a career. But there's also like this stronger nudge within you around, you've got to do it. Like this would burn within you if you never even allow yourself to try. And you're like transported to little you with a camcorder in hand and little you dreaming about what your acceptance speech would be at the Oscars. And you're like, I got to do it for them, right? I've got to do it for them. You know, as Neptune shifts from Pisces to Aries, Venus and Mercury shift back from Aries into Pisces. There's a lot bridging these two territories of the chart, which we talked about last week. But when we think about the zodiacal wheel as a life cycle, Pisces represents, you know, old age and whatever comes beyond, and Aries represents essentially the raw spark of life, you know, early life. And I heard a quote recently that said, the only two people you should be trying to impress is you at the end of your life, like wanting to impress that person around making memories, right? Having fun, having experiences, as well as you early in your life, like you as a child, like wanting to impress that person around, wow, we made our dreams real. Like those are the two people, or the two versions of yourself that I should say, that you really want to impress. And those are the real voices that you want to plug into. Because many people, as you're talking to your friends and your colleagues and your family around this filmmaking program, a lot of people are like, I don't know, you know, like you have this nice life here and, you know, your job's great and like this and that. But there comes to be a point in time in which you have to dull the noise. Like you have to really look within and contemplate what feels scarier, to take the risk and for it to go wrong, or to never take the risk at all. And to be the older version of you wondering what would have happened if you would have at least tried. The energy of Aries season, this is the sign of self. No one can do it for you. No one can decide it for you. No one can try for you. Again, your spirit guides can nudge you along, but at the end of the day, you have to take action. Like no one can do it for you. That Kali Uchis song is playing in my head where she says, no one can give me what I want. Truly, no one can give you what you want and what you desire out of this world. Like no one is going to make you follow your dreams or take action towards where it is that you're being guided on. Only you can do that. And of course, you hear out your family and friends as they're bringing up their concerns as you talk about getting accepted into this program. You certainly hear them out. But you have this inner knowing, which again, no one can know it for you. No one can do it for you. And also, there's so much that is occurring currently that feels like your old life is repelling you. Like truly, you're dealing with certain rejections. We'll say that your job laid you off. We'll say that someone that you were really into, that you were dating, broke up with you. We'll say that a dear friend of yours moved away. Like there's so much that just feels like your old life is repelling you, where there's not as much that you're wanting to stay for any longer. Certainly you like where it is that you live, you like elements of it, but there's like so much that's falling away that makes it even clearer that the universe is trying to push you in this particular direction, which makes the risk feel less scary. And again, it's deciding what is more scary to you. And it's feeling more scary to you to stay put, to stay stagnant, to stay scared of life. Like the energy of Aries Solar Eclipse, Neptune entering Aries is like, ready or not, here comes the new chapter of my life. I guess I'm moving abroad. And there's so many moments in that where you are doubting yourself around, am I crazy? Like, am I being delusional? Will this ever work out? But again, you're being guided by this deep sense of knowing and this nudge, this zest, this fire around no one can do it for me. No one can bring my dreams to life if I do not. And this is a moment in which I'm choosing me. You know, I'm honoring all of the thoughts that my friends and family are sharing, but I have to choose me, because when it's time to go, it's got to be my time to go. And I got to make sure that older me has some stories to tell, right? Has some life that has been lived. Aries is courageous, ready or not, here we go. You know, we never fully feel ready. Like as you're packing up, you're like, can I do this? Am I ready for this? I'm sure there's been many situations within your life and you feel like you've been pushed out of the comfort zone of the nest, right? And you had to find your wings, right? And that adrenaline rush and being pushed into action, you do find your wings, you do take flight, you do soar. And maybe you don't have a heartfelt desire to be a filmmaker, but there could be a new chapter that is beginning within your world that is asking you to be delusionally confident within yourself with Neptune and Aries, as well as advocate for yourself. Advocate for younger you, right? Advocate for the dreams that younger you had. Advocate for younger you if someone's being mean to you. Be like, absolutely not. You're not going to talk to the inner child that lives within me like that. No, you're not going to treat me like that. Absolutely not. And also advocating for older you, advocating to live this life deeply and richly and intensely, which sometimes entails taking a risk, ready or not. Ready or not. And again, we never fully feel ready. So what's the chapter you're being guided towards, ready or not? So we'll provide more nuance to this vibe check, to the astrology overall. I want to just let you know that all timestamps that I mention are PDT, Pacific Time Zone. So if you are located in a different place around the world than I am, please make sure to adjust to your local time zone, as many of these aspects, the eclipse, Neptune's ingress into Aries, may land at a different time or even a different day based on where it is that you will experience this astrology. Again, we're all united under the same sky, but based on where we are around the globe, we will experience it at a different time of day. So make sure to adjust to your own local time zone. I also want to let you know that I have timestamps below. If you want to go back to a particular day, fast forward to a particular day, you also can speed me up by clicking the gear icon and hitting playback speed. You could speed me up or you could slow me down. But without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into the astrology for Monday, March 24th. On Monday, March 24th, I want to let you know firstly that at 12:48 p.m., Sun conjoins Mercury, also known as a Mercury cazimi. This past weekend, we had a Venus cazimi. Sun conjoined Venus. And you can get caught up on last week's Magic Monday below. But with both of these cazimis, you know, the planets move through the heart of the sun. And with Mercury in the heart of the sun, there's a message. There's a message being received. Now, Mercury is retrograde. So for a lot of us, it's going to show up around a message coming from within. The call is inside the house. Like you having a moment of clarity around like, hang on, this is my life. Or like, hang on, this is something that I desire. Or like, hang on, this is a solution to this issue that I've been in. Like, hang on, this is a pattern that I have been within. Like there could just be a moment of clarity for something within. But also with Mercury retrograde, it could have been something from the past. You know, you could receive some sort of message from someone from the past. We'll say within the vibe check, you put in this application a while ago, so much so that you kind of forgot about it. It didn't seem within the realm of possibility or reality, so you kind of forgot about it. And then suddenly you're opening your mail and there it is, right? And this should provide some clarity around your Mercury retrograde story. Again, outside of the technical difficulties and the snafus and the miscommunications, which I'm sure you are feeling. Outside of those annoying parts of Mercury retrograde, it is a time of reflection and sometimes reminiscing. And even if we think of these retrogrades in Aries, reminiscing on these prior versions of you, that younger you with the camcorder. And maybe that message that comes in is that jolt of clarity around, I've got to do it. Like I've got to do it for me. I've got to do it for them, the younger version of myself. Only you can decide what is best for you. Again, this is kind of a week that's going to be important to dull the noise within the outside world. Again, I'm not saying you have to go hermit mode or anything like that, but especially if you are experiencing confusion, because Neptune energy can be quite confusing of an influence, it's important to look inward. It's important to go within. It's important to get quiet, honestly, because no one can decide it for you. And that's where Neptune energy gets tricky, is that it does dissolve energetic borders and boundaries. That's the tendency of Neptune, is to absorb. So as you go to different people within your world and say, hey, I got accepted into this program, what do you think? Sometimes you could be absorbed in what it is that they think and how it is that they see it. and what it is that they're moving through, and what it is that their chart's all about, and what it is that their destiny's around. For example, if you bring this to your friend Lindsay, who has this calling and this destiny around family values and mothering, she may bring up, based on her chart and her destiny and her perspective, she may bring up, well, you'll be farther from your family. What if you have kids and then you won't have parental support there? Again, viewing it from her own perspective. And she's not wrong, but she's viewing it from her lens. Again, Neptune governs screens, mirrors, cameras. That's why we're all filmmakers this week within the vibe check. And so she's viewing it through her lens and her destiny. And if you take that in around, okay, that's a good point. What if I do have children and then, I don't have any family where this program is? It's a good point. It couldn't possibly. Again, taking on Lindsay's perspective as your own. And sometimes that could be very powerful. Like, what are movies but a journey into someone else's perspective that sometimes provides clarity around our own experiences, right? Sometimes it's helpful to kind of merge into other people's realities. Sometimes we see things differently, but it's important to know that is Lindsay's reality. This is your reality. You take this issue to your brother, and within your brother's chart and design, there is a huge calling around wanting to build a lot of wealth, accumulate a lot of wealth. So your brother, of course, is going to let you know, like, okay, financially, that is going to be quite a hit. Why don't you just stay at your job and just work on investing more rather than putting it towards your education? Like, yeah, that is a good point. That's money that I could invest in something else. Again, it's not that either perspective is wrong. You're just getting absorbed into their chart and their destiny. And that's where it's important to get into your chart and your destiny, because that's the only way that you can make decisions that are truly for you. I think with this Aries solar eclipse landing right before Neptune enters Aries, it's kind of this energy around waking up. Like I said, Neptune has been a little sleepy since 2011, a little in our own dream space and imagination. And I feel with this Aries solar eclipse and Neptune entering Aries, a lot of people are waking up. Like waking up around, I have been sleepwalking through life. I've been going through the motions. This dream has been dormant beneath the surface, and my life doesn't even feel like my own. Because again, if you're absorbed in Lindsay's perspective and what your parents think you should do and what your grandparents think you should do and what your cousins think you should do, you will have this moment where you wake up and you're like, this is not even my life. I'm living a life that doesn't even feel like my own. And so there is an ask with this Aries solar eclipse to take the reins of your life and to take responsibility of all of it, right? Around it could work, it could not. You could succeed, you could flop. And all of that is on you. But again, no one can do it for you. When it's time for you to go at the end of your life, it's your time for you to go. Your wins are going to be your wins. Your losses are going to be your losses. What does it mean to be fully empowered in order to take responsibility or accountability over all of it? That's a psychological fact that when it comes to our wins, we are more willing to associate ourselves with them around, I got that promotion because I'm intelligent, because I worked hard. I won that award because I am talented. I got into this program because I have amazing filmmaking abilities. We really identify ourselves with our wins around, that's a me thing. That's what I did. Oftentimes, we distance ourselves from it around, I got a speeding ticket, and that was because the cop was mean that day. I didn't get the promotion, that's because my boss is biased. Like, we tend to distance ourselves or be a little bit more passive around our losses while fully claiming and identifying with our wins. And the energy of Aries is around, what does it mean to be fully embodied within your life, around taking stock and taking claim and taking identity of all of it, your wins and your failures, and stepping into the next chapter with that awareness around, I could slay, I could flop. And there's truly only way to find out. There is truly only one way to find out. And so with Monday's Mercury Cazimi, you should get some clarity around what Mercury retrograde has been wanting to tell you. It's like a message in a bottle from a younger version of self, potentially, or a prior version of self. It could be a message in a bottle around where your life does not feel fully and authentically your own. It could be a message in a bottle around where you have not been honest and authentic with yourself. Because if you are not true to yourself, how could you possibly be true to others? How could you possibly build a life that's true to you? You have to be honest with yourself. And that means being honest with yourself around your shortcomings, your failures, but also being honest with yourself around your desires, around your gifts, right? You shot your shot when it came to that filmmaking application, right? You felt like you had no chance on earth, but you took that shot because one part of you believes in yourself. And again, when we are complacent, sometimes we can allow those talents, abilities, or aspects of ourselves to be dormant underneath the surface because it scares us to have to confront. I have a real talent for filmmaking. I'm very passionate about this. This is something that I want to pursue. That's scary because if I acknowledge that, if I acknowledge that I'm good at this, if I acknowledge that I desire this, that means I have to snap into action, right? That means I need to wake up from the stagnant chapter of my life and make something happen for myself. So sometimes we don't acknowledge it. We suppress it. We do fear our own greatness in many ways because to acknowledge our greatness means taking risks in order to continue to unfurl our greatness. And you might be saying, Haley Comet, we're just starting off the week. I am not in the mood to be great. It's a Monday morning. I don't know if I can arise to the call of my greatness on a Monday morning. I might need a cup of coffee first. Just know that that is a story. I'm not saying it necessarily is all going to unfold on Monday, but there could be a message either within or around you that provides some sort of clarity, some sort of aha. I will say in relation to your communication with others, not the most helpful day for it. Sun is a luminary that is associated with ego. It's sitting very strong in Aries. So people could find it very hard to listen to you outside of their own perspective. This is helpful for your case around getting quiet, looking within, but we're all just kind of in a mood to not be told how to be or who to be on Monday. So even if you're bringing up constructive criticism at work or an idea, you might find that people are a little resistant to things that weren't their own idea. Okay, so we start the day with the moon in Capricorn sextiling Neptune. That aligns at 8:01 a.m. PDT. Feels like a great time to remind you that your dreams can be rich and layered at this time. We have a lot of Neptune activity. So definitely write your dreams down. Really observe what your subconscious mind is wanting to bring to your awareness. Again, like I said, that Mercury Cazimi, a message is coming through. A message in a bottle is floating your way. Make sure that you are absorbing it and receiving it. But outside of that, the early morning starts off with this productive note with the Capricorn moon and a little bit of dreaminess with the sextile to Neptune. So maybe a great morning to kind of like romanticize your life, write your to-do list, but do so while you sip a strawberry matcha or listen to some classical music or something like this. The moon then enters Aquarius at 8:25 a.m. And throughout the day, it makes all sorts of sextiles to the Aries placement. So Venus in Aries, Mercury in Aries, and the Sun in Aries. And one thing that Aries and Aquarius have in common is the desire to be true to oneself, right? To march the beat of their own drums. And so there really is an energy on Monday around not wanting to be told what to do, how to live, how to be, and having some stubbornness if someone does try to tell you how to be or how to think or how to operate. Midday at like 2:34 p.m., the moon does align with Pluto, which tends to drag our emotions into a more intense place of fear, of paranoia. You also could be feeling this call to release, to renew. It feels noteworthy to highlight that we are in the waning crescent moon phase as we prepare for this weekend solar eclipse in Aries, which is a lunar phase that is associated with closure and completion. And so you may be naturally inclined to want to release belongings that no longer feel like you, the most authentic expression of you, or even just wanting to create emotional closure from a certain chapter in your world, right? Like allowing yourself to walk around the town that you live in and contemplate, wow, I'm really letting this go. I'm really grieving this in order to step into this new beginning. And there also could be emotions that come up at this time. A lot of things can surface in the final lunar phase in order to sweep it away to prepare for this new beginning. So there could be an energy around what's beginning within your life as well as what's leaving. There's so much astrologically that's like push-pull. We have a solar eclipse on the North Node, which is about launching us forward, but it's the last eclipse in a nodal story that's been alive since April 2023. So it is a bit of a closure of that story. We have so much of the cosmos in Aries asking for initiation and new beginnings. Yet we have these retrogrades, which is around tying up loose ends from the past. We are being guided with so much of the cosmos and the cardinal fire of Aries to take action, to take the reins of our lives, to be proactive. But we're also in eclipse season, which is a time to let fate do its thing. So we are receiving a lot of mixed messages, astrologically speaking, and it feels like that's surfacing towards the beginning of the week around acknowledging there's things in my life that are sprouting and budding and blooming and growing, but there's also things in my life that are decaying. There are things in my life that are falling away. And just as we do with plants, we have to cut off the leaves that are dying in order to support the plant's resources towards the leaves that are doing quite well. And you could be feeling that nudge, feeling that call to do that at a time such as this, like just saying goodbye to things, letting go of things, even just allowing emotions to surface in order to take the message or take the data of what they're bringing up. On Tuesday, March 25th, we have Mercury in Aries sextile Pluto in Aquarius, landing around 3 p.m. PDT. And this, of course, lands fresh off the heels of yesterday's Mercury Cazimi, which, if that was the courage to admit something to yourself, this is the courage to allow yourself to be transformed with that aha, with that epiphany, with that revelation, truly. And some of us, this could be acknowledging, this is the desire of mine. I want to go into this filmmaking program, and holy crap, that terrifies me, right? With the sextile to Pluto, it's scary to transform. It's scary to evolve. It's scary to step out of your comfort zone. And it's scary to pull something out of your subconscious processes around your genuine talent for something, your genuine desire for something, if facing that prompts you to evolve or transform or step out of your comfort zone in some regard. And maybe someone out there is getting into a filmmaking program this week, but likely not all of us. And it might not show up in this dramatic thing that occurs that is prompting you to evolve. But it could also be you being able to see something with clarity around a role that you have played within an ongoing situation. Some of us are reviewing connections from the past with Venus retrograde, and Mercury is more so taking the data from it, or rereading the text messages, or rereading the journals, or things like this. And with Aries, taking personal responsibility or personal accountability for the role that you played in it. Again, no one is perfect, and certainly I'm sure there's situations within the past that you've been done wrong, but there's also situations in which we have done wrong. And we don't evolve or change as human beings until we take some level of accountability. And again, if you have a consistent pattern within your life that just shows up over and over and over again, the only common denominator is you. And when you take personal accountability, it is a more empowering way to view the world. Because until you do that, and I'm sure you may know some people like this, until you do that, everything is against them, right? Nothing is ever their fault. The world is against them, right? And it's a more passive way to live, right? Because then it's just like we're at the whim of all of these things that are constantly happening to us. And again, nothing is ever our fault. And there's an S with Mercury retrograde. If you are being dragged into some old situations or some old connections or whatever's coming up around really taking the data around how did I show up within that connection? How do I want to show up differently? And how am I allowing my mindset to be empowering of how it is that I proceed? Again, it's in a more empowering way to view the world when you take a more active role around there are things that happen, there are things that are outside of my control, but I also chose to show up in this way. I also chose to take these particular actions. And if I don't allow myself to take responsibility of that, I'm never going to change past certain patterns that I don't want to be in any longer. I'm never going to evolve beyond the same situation, just with different faces or different arenas of my life. Like, again, if you feel like you're in a hamster wheel with Mercury sextile Pluto, it's like this energy around how could I do something different? And it's very uncomfortable to fight against inertia, right? To fight against stagnancy. It's very easy to do the same thing over and over again and make it everybody else's fault and the world's fault and the world hates you. It's much more challenging to view yourself, because that's all you really have control over, is how it is that you choose to show up, and contemplate, how could I show up differently? How could I approach this differently? It could be uncomfortable to dive into the crevices of our subconscious or our psyche with this energy of Pluto, with this energy of Pluto, or to consume material that prompts that deep dive within our subconscious or within our psychological. That could feel incredibly uncomfortable. This could be, reading a psychology book that calls you out, looking at your birth chart in a particular aspect you haven't noticed before and feeling called out. It's uncomfortable to be called out, or to have a behavior of yours, communication style of yours, a way of showing up of yours. Again, this could come from outside of you or within you, called out. When with the sextile to Pluto around, dang, that's so true. That's so real. And I'm taking accountability of that, as uncomfortable as that is, because facing that requires me to change or shift, even if it's just changing or shifting my perspective on it. You could feel a little called out on Tuesday. And again, maybe that's coming from someone else, but I feel like more so it's coming from you, around you're reading old journals and you're feeling called out around, dang, like I was really in that particular pattern. Or you are looking at your birth chart and you're noticing an aspect that you haven't noticed before, and you look into it and you're like, dang, I feel called out by that element of myself. Or you're witnessing a certain issue at work and you're recognizing that the same pattern keeps showing up with different colleagues, and you're like, dang, this might be a me thing. Isn't that so humbling when you realize something might be a you thing? It's like, dang. It might be a me thing. And to say it's a you thing, right, means evolving beyond it or having to transform beyond it, which is why there's such a psychological resistance to wanting something to be a you thing, right? Wanting to take responsibility around, oh, this might be a pattern that I'm contributing to in some way. Because when you acknowledge that and you see the role that you're playing in it, that drives you to transform, which is resisting inertia, which is showing up in a brand new way of being, which is getting out of your comfort zone. And again, sometimes we fiercely defend our comfort zone that's actually not very comfortable. Like we're in a certain pattern or cycle that's not very comfortable, but it's what we're used to. It's familiar. It's harder but more empowering to shift into the space around advocating for growth rather than advocating for your comfort zone. Because our excuses put up a fight. Right? Our excuses really put up a fight. And that's the mode that our protagonist had to get into, around recognizing, what am I fighting for? Like what I feel like I'm fighting for around staying stuck in this town and in this job, those excuses are getting weaker and weaker, right? They're putting up a good fight, but it's like, this isn't really that valid around stay in the town because I've always lived in the town. Like that's really not that great of an excuse, right? Versus kind of the fight that growth was putting up around, this is your passion. You got in. Like that's crazy. You got into this program. So just being mindful where it is that you go on the defense when your comfort zone is challenged. Like what are you really fighting for here? And I do want to let you know that we are in the waning crescent moon phase, which in addition to this energy around closure and completion is a time that we do crave a little bit more solitude. We typically desire more so to be in our own energy. We could be feeling a little bit more sensitive as we get closer to some of these Neptune aspects. So you may be feeling a call to be in your own energy and answer that call, certainly. I just want to highlight the moon is in Aquarius trining Jupiter today, so you could be feeling more social. This could be great brainstorming energy with people at work, colleagues with work, or any sort of team or group that you are a part of. On Wednesday, March 26th, I want to let you know that at 1:13 p.m., Mars in Cancer squares Chiron in Aries. And this lands midweek, and I want you to give this a nice wiggle room of 2 days on either side that you will feel this energy build and you will feel this energy separate. And I want you to keep this in mind because yes, there's a lot of energy around pushing us to our new chapter and initiating a new beginning. But with Mars in Cancer squaring Chiron in Aries, there could be an energy around fighting for familiarity, even if that familiarity isn't very comfortable or isn't very empowering. And that fierceness of defending our comfort zone coming from a more wounded place, or a place where we have been hurt before. around what if I take this risk and I get judged by the rest of the filmmakers in the program, just like I was judged when I was in high school, right? That Chiron wound saying that couldn't possibly be safe. Fierce defense of our comfort zone is coming not just from, inertia and stagnancy and complacency, but also from a place of pain. And I want to highlight that because Mars in Cancer squaring Chiron in Aries. This is the wounded part of us advocating for what is familiar, what feels safe, where we would be secure. And that's why it's helpful to investigate and kind of poke at our excuses to see, what am I really fearful of? What am I truly fearful of? Because life is risk. There's a risk to staying just as much as there's a risk to going. And our beings, as intelligent as they are wired in a way where we don't want to experience pain again. So sometimes we flag certain things within our life as not safe because it's danger zone, right? Around, whoa, this is a risk. Remember these past risks that didn't work out and how painful that was and how embarrassing that was. Do you really want to feel that again? Or you're joining this filmmaking cohort. Remember how rejected you felt by the individuals at high school? It couldn't possibly be safe for you there. Again, advocating for your comfort zone because you don't want to experience the pain of being hurt again. And that's why it's helpful to kind of look at our excuses in order to figure out, what am I really scared of? What am I truly scared of here? And there's going to be a question with this Mars in Cancer squaring Chiron, and I want you to answer it. And what I mean by that is you may have energy stir up within you around, can I do this? And that's where you have to get into that answering mode around, yes, I can. Like affirm that, yes, I can. Because we can love that wounded self that exists within that version of ourselves that's been hurt before, right? We might be resistant to shooting our shot in love if we have been rejected before. We might be resistant to joining this new club if we've been rejected by group environments before. We might be resistant to sharing our work with our creative writing class if we felt the sting around receiving some rather harsh criticism. Like, really our being is trying to keep us safe and trying to avoid as much pain as possible, but choosing the safest option is not the way that you ensure that the older version of you has many memories to reflect back on, right? The safe route is not always the best route. The route that ensures that you will experience as little pain or as little rejection as possible is not always the path of living a life that ignites you, that enlivens you. And you can love that wounded part within you that's been hurt, that's been wounded, while also acknowledging that's not the part of me that is spearheading into my next chapter, right? That's not the warrior side of me, right? And if I let that wounded part of me call the shots, I probably won't leave my bedroom, because to be outside means to open ourselves up to pain and embarrassment and rejection. And we can nurture that inner version of ourselves while also acknowledging that's not who's in the control center of this chapter of my journey. That's not the version of me that is going to allow me to thrive as a filmmaker. Because to succeed means getting comfortable with rejection. To succeed means getting comfortable with failure. To succeed means getting comfortable with trying and trying again, which sometimes we learn a lot from pain, honestly. And you could just have an energy where you are doubting if you are capable, doubting if you are strong enough, not feeling strong enough to arise to the challenges of your world at this time. Again, that'll be the question posed. Am I strong enough? And that's where you step in and say, yes. Yes. Choosing the mentality that is the most empowering, with Mercury sextile Pluto and Mercury aligned with Neptune a little later on this week. Tap into Neptune, because Neptune can be smokescreen energy in that we see ourselves through the lens around, we're a loser and we couldn't possibly, or seeing ourselves through the lens around, I'm a filmmaker in training and I've got this. It really is energy around whether you think you can or you cannot, you're right. And Mars square Chiron has been ongoing. So this was part of the Mars retrograde story, which, as a recap, that was alive from December to February. And Mars is still working to get out of its post-retrograde shadow. So there could be even elements of that period of your life that are coming up for review. Maybe there were certain risks that came your way at that time and you chose the easier option. You allowed the wounded part of you to win. Maybe something is coming up at this time around the discomfort of leaving a familiar situation. And like I stated within the vibe check, there was that energy around feeling quite rejected. you know, feeling like my friend moved and this person broke up with me and I got laid off. It's like all of these rejections, all of these like ouches to the ego, right? Where it's like, geez, oh my gosh. And we can't control whether or not that stuff happens, but you get to choose whether you view that around I'm a loser and this world is against me, or the universe simply wanted to make it extra clear to me that it wants me to start my new life. So it's just allowing this old chapter of my life to fade away. You know, it's important the perspective that we view things, and furthermore, the perspective that we view ourselves. So again, do not exert your precious energy, especially with Mars still in its detriment, fighting for your weaknesses or fighting for your excuses, fighting for where it is that you don't feel good enough, fighting for what experiences will help you avoid as much pain or risk as possible. And to a very literal sense, we could just be feeling quite crabby on Wednesday. We could be feeling very crabby, very sensitive, because the day starts off with the moon in Aquarius. It squares Uranus. That exacts at 3:15 a.m. So you might wake up kind of restless, emotionally all over the place. The moon then enters Pisces. And with the moon in Pisces, we are more sensitive. And this layered on Mars square Chiron, people could be a little crabby. People could be a little testy. People could be a little reactive. Like you just make a certain comment to someone and someone kind of snaps at you or lashes out. Like we have an exposed nerve on Wednesday. And so other people could be a little short, a little crabby with you. You could be a little short or a little crabby with other people as well. On Thursday, March 27th, I want to let you know that at 1:41 a.m. PDT, Venus re-enters Pisces. And Venus is still retrograde, so Venus stuff is still wonky, right? Beauty stuff, money stuff, love stuff. But at least Venus is being wonky in a sign that it likes to be in. Venus is leaving its detriment of Aries for now and entering its exaltation. And this should show up around a more romanticized, idealized experience of life, which yes, this could be showing up around your love life, absolutely, but also just falling in love with life itself. Recognizing the ways that spirit and source energy speaks to you through beauty all around you. If you're paying attention, those moments of magic within the mundane, the way that the sun filters in through your window just right, the cat that you see in the windowsill when you walk by, that strawberry matcha that just hit right. Speaking of, just gonna finish that. You can see all the strawberries sitting at the bottom. Those moments of divinity. And it's more to work that muscle around and tuning to those moments of divinity. I mean, there's a reason within the vibe check, we're all filmmakers, right? Like it's important to see the magic, the cinema that exists around us, even in circumstances that feel quite ordinary. There really is a call, especially with Venus meeting up to meet Neptune again around 6 a.m. There really is a call to romanticize your life, whether that is listening to music, watching movies, going out in nature. That is medicine for the soul. If you're feeling disconnected, if you're feeling disheartened, it's a time to be in a space of awe. It's a time to be surrounded by some beauty. Go to a museum, play with your makeup, create a look that's very ethereal and otherworldly. I want you to tap into that dynamic of Neptune, because as we're discussing deeply this week, Neptune has a shadow side, and how that can show up on Thursdays, feeling very weepy, feeling very sentimental, feeling very nostalgic, and romanticizing something that no longer exists or someone who no longer exists. You know, sometimes we can freeze people in our mind like we're taking a photograph, right? With this Neptune energy. While we've walked through time and we've likely changed and transformed, we tend to freeze them in that static capture of the person that we once knew, and missing and yearning for that photograph of the time that we spent with that person when we knew them. And sometimes when we do yank these people back from the past into our reality, we see, wow, I'm missing someone who no longer exists any longer. This person is very much alive on this planet, but they are not the same as who I used to know. I've been missing and yearning and longing for someone who no longer exists. And sometimes we romanticize and idealize people from the past, friends from the past, lovers from the past. Not just because we miss the person, but also because we miss something that was part of our experience at that part of our journey. We miss how alive we felt. We miss how simple life felt. And we can think, because our mind has captured this person within this photograph, we can think, if I were to bring this person back into my life, that simplicity in my life would exist again. That vitality in my life would exist again. We can project things onto people with this Neptunian energy. And sometimes we can project around, this person is the key holder of simplicity within my life, vitality within my life. And Neptune energy really is that wah-wah energy, because it is this alluring image that is cast, but there's really no substance. So there's like this illusion that this person is going to bring me back to those happy days, those simple times, and then you recognize, oh, there's nothing there, or that was what I was projecting onto this person. That's just a season of my life that I miss and that I long for, that has nothing to do with this particular person. But maybe you're being the one projected on. You know, this goes two ways. We could project onto other people around, this is the one who got away, this is someone who brings, you know, simplicity and vitality into my life. We could do that to others, and others can do that to us. And it's not comfortable to be put on a pedestal or to be projected onto. And it's not comfortable to be put on a pedestal. It's not comfortable for people to have a certain vision in their mind of what they expect you to be and what it isn't they expect you to fulfill. Maybe some of you are hearing from people from the past who are claiming that you are the one who got away and have this vision of you as this like manic pixie dream girl or what have you, and you're like, that is not me, at least not any longer. I'm glad that you snapshotted that version of me that you used to know, but I'm not her, and I'm not going to bring that sense of whimsy that you think I'm going to bring into your world because you have this idealized illusionary version of me within your mind. Reality pales in comparison to what it is that we project onto people or build people up to be. And that fall from that Neptunian pedestal can be steep. And so my encouragement on Thursday is be very mindful where it is that you're romanticizing people from your past around, if I only had them within my life, then I would be happy, then I would feel full. That is an illusion. And I just have to share this with you guys because those who have been watching Magic Monday for a minute, I think will enjoy this update. And I'm talking like, if you've been watching Magic Monday for like 2 years or so, you will be dialed into this lore. And I would love to know, how long have you been watching Magic Monday? If you've been a regular watcher, some of you might be stopping by the Cosmic Corner for the first time. It's a great week of astrology to be tuning into, let me say that. But if you are regular in the Cosmic Corner of the internet, and you have been, you may remember a recurring character here on Magic Monday who's been dormant. We have not heard from this person in a while. This is Mr. ChatGPT. And to fill you in on the brief lore, because of course Venus retrograde brought Mr. ChatGPT back, like literally why? This is an individual that I dated in 2016 or 2017, and it was very brief. I'm talking like a handful of dates. I'm talking a handful of dates. And our brief 3-date love affair came to a close because he posted a photo of his ex-girlfriend to his Instagram story. And I knew it was his ex-girlfriend because he had like grid posts with her. So I was like, okay, well, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And so I basically, next time he asked me out, I was like, yeah, no, I think you're still with your ex. I think you have a girlfriend. So like, absolutely not. And he was basically like, no, I was just like drinking and I missed her. So I posted a story, like, absolutely not. I was done. And the story should have stopped there. Like, the story should have stopped there. We're talking 8 years ago. Like, how is this story still ongoing? Regardless. So I blocked his Instagram, blocked his number. He started blowing me up on his business line. So I blocked his business line, his business's phone number. And the only line of communication that's been open was from his official business's Instagram account to my Haley Comet Astrology Instagram account. It's been the only line of communication that has been open in this entire time. And it just never felt right to block him there. I don't know. I just really don't be blocking people on Haley Comet Astrology. Even if people leave mean comments, even if there was like a weird situation from that, you never know. I try to like share my content with love and light. Maybe they're going to see some sort of Instagram reel that's going to inspire them around an element of themselves or their journey, or maybe one of these reels will help this king with his journey of self-discovery and self-awakening so that he doesn't post photos of his ex-girlfriend on his Instagram account while he's actively pursuing someone else. But regardless, I left that line of communication open. And then at a certain point, it was just like, how long is he going to talk to himself within my DMs? And he has talked to himself consistently within my DMs since whenever that line of communication was open. And every time he is more quiet in my DMs, I really am rooting for him. I'm like, you got this. Like, focus on your business, fall in love, get yourself a girlfriend, get yourself a wife. Like, it's not going to be me. Like, you had your chance. You had your chance. And I know that he is copying and pasting these DMs to like 50 or 60 other women. I am absolutely certain. So I share this not to be mean-spirited. I'm not making fun of this guy at all. I'm just like, I see what he's trying to do here. I see what he's trying to do here. And he's tried many different attempts to get my attention. He has sent voice memos. He has sent videos edited by CapCut, actually. He had like this video like pleading his love for me, and then at the very end it was like edited by CapCut, which makes me like wonder, like, what did he edit out? What did he edit out? Actually, I'm wondering if he just like records one video and then like edits all of our names in there, like Brenda, I'm missing you. Haley, I'm missing you. Alicia, I'm missing you. Like edits that and splices it all together so that we all get our own video. Who knows? And the reason he has the name Mr. ChatGPT is because he wrote me this love letter in the DMs that everybody clearly clocked was AI, and it basically just had all these spiritual terms in there that really didn't amount to anything. Like, he really wasn't saying anything. He was like, let's float away on a cloud of cosmic connection and I lose myself within the heavens of your eyes. I'm like, King, I know those 3 dates that we had in 2017 were not all that. Were not all that. And again, whenever I hear from him, I'm like, this is so Neptunian. This is so Neptunian. Whatever he's built me up to be, whoever he thinks that I am, I'm not. And I know that I'm not because we went on 3 dates in 2017. Like, he has no idea who I am. And here he is in his DMs asking if I want to get lost on a cosmic cloud of connection and get lost in one another's eyes. I'm like, huh? What? If he does feel an iota of what he expresses within the voice memos and the letters and what have you, he feels that for a version of me that's not real. Because when he was in my life and he had a chance, he was posting his ex-girlfriend on the gram. Like, that was his one who got away. I'm sure he was sending her, I don't think AI was a thing back then, but he was probably sending her voice memos and videos and all of these things, pining after her. Again, with Neptune energy, things can look more romanticized with distance. Something can look more appealing when there's been more time in between it. So being conscious where it is that you do that to yourself. If you're longing for or yearning for someone, A, is that who it is that they genuinely are, or are you keeping them frozen within a version of themselves that you used to know? And B, is that distance creating enough emotional safety from the situation that you're able to kind of like romanticize and yearn for and idealize for this person, because there's not like the threat of intimacy around having to get to know each other for who it is that we authentically are. So just knowing that with Venus Neptune today, the delulus could be deluluing, and we do this to ourselves. Sometimes we deceive ourselves by tricking ourselves to believing that somebody else is the answer to our problems, that somebody else is someone that they are not, that someone's red flags are just flags, right? And sometimes we're the one where other people do that to us. It's like someone slides in our DMs and it's like, you're the one who got away and I want to float away on a cosmic cloud of connection with you. It's like, whoa, we haven't talked since 2017. What are you talking about, cosmic cloud? Where is it going? And that could be beautiful to be inspired, right? To write poems and to create a film about the one who got away and things like that. But really being conscious, if you are seeking to go back to a past situation, it's not going to hit like it did at that time. Like, if me and Mr. ChatGPT were to repeat those 3 dates, I guarantee that there would be no magic, and the illusion of what he's built me up to be would fall away in an instant. So just being conscious. We're playing a dangerous game with Venus aligning with Neptune while it's retrograde. And on Thursday, there could be a spirit of excess or overdoing just with the Pisces moon squaring Jupiter and Gemini, whether it's an excess of imagination. You know, some people just feel Neptune energy is very sleepy, very dreamy energy. Sometimes we are more emotional. Our emotions can feel very big at this time. Again, they're coming up for a reason to be swept away before this Aries solar eclipse. On Friday, March 28th, we are not quite out of the weeds when it comes to that Venus-Neptune energy, which, like I said, I want you to catch the wave of the beautiful aspects of Neptune and just be conscious of some of the rip currents of Neptune energy. Because again, it can pull you in deep to romanticizing a relationship that you actually don't want, yearning for a time that you actually don't want to return back to, losing yourself within a world that is not real. And with the energy of Neptune, there is an opportunity for forgiveness. And if anything, choosing forgiveness to lighten your own load. Like the waters of what it is that you're holding on to feels murky because you're holding on to so much bitterness and resentment and cruelty that has been done to you. There could be an opportunity with Neptune around allowing those things to be washed away, allowing it to be swept away. If anything, for yourself, if it's available, seeing from a higher perspective with the energy of Pisces around how these experiences helped tune you into your own personal calling, to your mission. You know, Neptune is the planet of dissolving, and it can be very powerful at dissolving those hardened parts of ourselves, those jaded parts of ourselves, to recognize, like, I don't need to hold on to this pain any longer. I don't need to hold on to this anger any longer. Like, when I view things from a higher, more spiritual perspective, I see that you're a soul who's probably hurting, and that's why you hurt me. And I don't want to hold on to this any longer. It's making my waters murky, and I want my waters to be clear and free and light. Again, forgive because it's good for you, right? It's good for your own waters. And like I said, tap into the higher vibration of Neptune. This could be a lovely day to write a song, to watch a movie, to play an album, to cry. You know, we're right before the solar eclipse in Aries, so you could be feeling things intensely. And again, Neptune energy asks you to just allow yourself to get swept away. A lot of people feel Neptune energy is heightened sensitivity, heightened emotions, and some things may feel heavy at this point in time. Just know that all things pass is the invitation. The Pisces moon trines Mars after midnight, so you could be feeling very intuitively guided, intuitively led to take the right action at the right time. The moon meets up with Saturn, hence these themes around things feeling a little heavy or reality feeling a little heavy. Again, it's nice to get caught in a Neptunian wave of like delusion around me and Mr. ChatGPT. We're gonna like run off and it's gonna be a fairy tale and this is my soulmate. That's not my line of thinking whatsoever, by the way. But if you have certain people within your life where you're like, we're gonna run away and it's gonna be so great, like Moon Saturn is kind of the sobering energy around, yeah, I know nothing about this person. And there just could be certain sobering recognitions or even sobering emotions, you know, in light of what I was sharing around forgiveness. In that Reiki session I told you guys about around my birthday, she was basically saying you're holding on so tight to what happened to you that you're not allowing yourself to like release it to the universe and just accept it happened. Like it happened. Sometimes we grip so tightly to things, even if they hurt us, replaying it, our subconscious mind wanting closure so badly that we hold on so tight, trying to make sense of it, trying to wrap our head around it. And it can keep us in that holding pattern of feeling stuck, of feeling, you know, sad. And with Moon Saturn, it could just be facing like this happened. And when we face this happened and when we release resistance around this happened, like reaching that place of acceptance around it sucks with Moon Saturn, but it happened. That allows us to forgive or to flow, right? She had recommended during that Reiki session, she's like, you can always just give it back to the universe. Like just say, universe, I give this back to you. Like this was an experience that I had and I give it back to you. Like that energy of acceptance around allowing that Neptune energy to wash away the hurt, the betrayal, the grief, whatever it is that you're moving through, whatever is moving through you. with all this water energy, right? And I would say midday, the moon aligns with Venus and Neptune. So really lovely opportunity to show love, kindness, compassion to every human that you see, really being intentional around seeing the beauty all around you, seeing the love all around you. This could be a very creative energy. You could be working but listening to an album and getting lost in the album. You know, Neptune energy isn't so good for being very productive or being very here. But when the moon enters Aries at 1:36, that should help. It kind of snaps us into action. Although, let me say, you might be feeling a little tired. We tend to feel kind of tired before solar eclipses, before new moons. So be gentle if that is what is occurring right now. Neptune energy can be very sleepy. But at least the moon in Aries could inspire you taking some sort of action. With moon on Mercury, there could be more communicative energy coming in. With the moon sextile Pluto, this invitation and acknowledgement around change and transformation and reinvention and having a future that is pulling you onward, right? Because sometimes we hold on to certain painful experiences and we don't want to march too far into our future, right? Like in our vibe check, I don't want to leave this town because what if this person that I was dating comes back and they want to be with me? Or what if this opportunity comes back? Or what if this friend comes back and I'm no longer here, right? I've moved into my next chapter. Sometimes we can resist the new because we fear that means fully grieving the old. That means fully closing the door on this relationship, fully closing the door on my chapter within this town. And it's exciting to be pulled into the new, but to be pulled into the new means saying goodbye to the old. And the more that we could just accept this is what happened and allow the universe to take that experience, right? Allowing us to give it back to the universe around this occurred and now here you go. The more we can reach that place of acceptance, the more we allow ourselves to move towards what is flowing towards us. Because again, sometimes we stay stuck, stay in our comfort zone, stay making excuses for things that are not really worthy of our defense. Like, what are we really fighting for here? The potential of someday, the illusion of comfort, the security of never taking a risk. On Saturday, March 29th, we have the solar eclipse in Aries, which is a cosmic commencement and completion all wrapped up into one. And what I mean by that is that this is a launching forward. Hence why within the vibe check, we are starting our new life. As a filmmaker, we are being launched forward. And again, it's not going to show up so dramatically for each and every one of us. This could just be you choosing to show up authentically for the new challenges within your world. This could be you choosing to advocate for yourself. It just feels like we are departing our comfort zone in some regard. And everybody has different fears. Everybody's comfort zone looks different. For you, leaving your comfort zone could be moving across country. For someone else, leaving your comfort zone can be standing up for ourselves in a dynamic where our fixed groove of behavior is around people pleasing or fawning over that person. Like, it's going to look different person to person. But with this being a solar eclipse on the new moon and on the north node, this is an energy around your next chapter. Yet I say that it's a closure because this is the final eclipse that we will experience within the Aries Libra axis. This story's been alive since the opening eclipse back in April 2023 and largely was the focus of much of your growth and evolution from 2023 through 2024. And there was a graduation around how have you learned these Aries themes? How have you learned to advocate for yourself, advocate for your desires? How have you learned to stand up for yourself? How have you learned to rely on yourself? How have you learned to choose yourself? Because within the vibe check, there were experiences where you did not feel chosen. You got laid off from your job. You got broken up with. You didn't feel chosen. And even in more minor ways, in more subtle ways, when you listen to what your brother would do and what Lindsay would do and what your grandparents would do as it relates to this new opportunity, you may be drawn into choosing them as well, rather than choosing yourself. Choose yourself. No one will do it for you. No one will stand up for you the way that you will. No one will get what it is that you desire the way that you will. Choose you. And certainly the last 2 years could have stirred up a lot around not feeling chosen by others. And that's where it gets even more important to choose yourself. Choose your younger self. Choose your older self. Choose Choose yourself. Choose your younger version. Choose your younger self. Choose your older self. Choose yourself. And know that your dreams were given to you for a reason. You know, with North Node Pisces, it is around following where we feel that sensation of flow or feeling connected to something bigger, which you've always loved to make movies. Why is that? Why, when we're young, some people gravitate towards the little kitchen sets and some of us have dreams of being on stage? It's not to say that all of those children will grow up to be chefs or grow up to be performers, but there tends to be bits of what was alive in that very raw, authentic version of you that signals what it is that you will grow into, how it is that you will develop. Again, maybe that desire to be on stage and sing, maybe you won't literally become a singer, but maybe there is a desire to be a leader within your industry. Maybe that desire to make plastic food in your little play kitchen is a desire where you love to create events, you love to nurture people, you love to nourish people. The younger version of ourselves is who it is that we are before this world tells us who to be. And sometimes there could be clues around what it would look like to live in alignment with our purest, most authentic self. I do want to let you know I filmed an Aries Solar Eclipse All Signs deep dive that takes you into the nuances of this eclipse, an all signs house by house analysis of where exactly it's stirring up within your chart and within your life. And so outside of the eclipse, which is a big deal, like really honor what comes up this week, as significant or insignificant as it is. If it happens around eclipse, there is significance to it. So honor it, observe it. I want to let you know that at 7:18 p.m., Mercury will re-enter Pisces. Again, Mercury is kind of copying Venus. Whatever Venus is doing, Mercury is doing as well. And so now Mercury is re-entering Pisces. And while Venus much preferred the waters of Pisces to Aries, Mercury does not. And by that I mean communication could get a little murky. You know, your mind could feel like it's underwater. This could be a time in which there's more miscommunications. You are struggling to find the words. It's on the tip of your tongue, but you can't quite reach it. You're feeling more forgetful. You're feeling more absent-minded. You know, you might be incredibly spacey over the weekend because you're maintaining two worlds, like this reality as well as Mercury in Pisces is pulling you into the realm of fantasy and imagination. So it could be hard to maintain your vivid daydreams and your work tasks. Like you could be balancing in between these things, and it could make you much more spacey, forgetting to reply to people, forgetting to handle certain tasks that you meant to handle. You also could be more sensitive, reading into what is being said, reading into what's not being said. With Mercury, Neptune can be you visualizing your wildest fantasies, or it could be you visualizing the worst case scenario. With Mercury, Neptune, you could be hurting your own feelings with fantasy scenarios that aren't even occurring at this particular moment in time, right? Around thinking about, you know, moving across the country and being like, I'm going to walk in on the first day and they're all going to make fun of me because they all probably already have filmmaking experience and I really don't. Like they're all going to laugh at me and call me a loser. It's like participating in reality and getting your feelings hurt when that's not even alive right now. Like there is an encouragement to, yes, dream, imagine, get lost in worlds of your own making, but also be here now. Some details could be going by the wayside, so you're going to want to strive to be as organized as possible. You could be losing things, you could be forgetting things. It's hard to be a human being when there's a lot of Pisces in the cosmos. It just is. It's like, it's just so much. Like you're telling me I'm like feeling everything this deeply. I'm connecting to my intuition and my spirit guides and my angels. I'm doing all of that. And then I also have to handle my oil changes. I also have to handle the perfume that's spilt in my vanity that I have to now clean up. Like life is just a lot right now. And with Mercury and Neptune, you could just be like, I can't, I want to escape. I just want to get lost in my own world. Like life is just so much. This world as well as maintaining my own inner world. On Sunday, March 30th, at 5 a.m. PDT, Neptune enters Aries, where it will stay until October 22nd this year, at which point it retrogrades back into Pisces. And the Neptune and Pisces story officially ends in January 2026. And that's when we're rocking with Neptune and Aries for the long haul, like 2038. Then it starts dabbling into Taurus, and then the story officially concludes in 2039. So this is quite a chapter that we are initiating. And this is going to show up within collective implications, some positive, like I said, like spiritual warriors really advocating for the spiritual beliefs that we have or the compassion that we have for humanity, really being delusional around our own desires and somehow it working out, right? Shooting our shot to this filmmaking program and getting a yes, right? Like this is really a transit that's going to favor bravery and courage. And you could get a life of your wildest dreams if you give yourself permission to try for it, to shoot your shot towards it. You know, there are definitely shadow sides of Neptune and Aries altogether, and you will want to be conscious of wherever within your chart you have Aries. Because if you can't tell from this video and you're not familiar with my content, Neptune is my op. Like truly, Neptune is my op. Last week, I asked you guys, which planet would you want to sesh with? This week, the question is, which planet do you want to square up with? Like I have personal beef with Neptune. Over a 3-year span of my life, Neptune conjoined my descendant, opposed my moon, conjoined my sun. And so I will say the Neptune and Pisces journey is one that I'm looking forward to saying goodbye to. You know, it was a spiritual time, certainly. It was an inspiring time, absolutely, but it was a very confusing time. And it made me have personal beef with Neptune because at least the other planets, you know what you're in for. If you're having a Saturn transit, you know you're working with Saturn. If you're having a Pluto transit even, you know who it is that you're working with. Neptune is so tricky because it enters like a dream come true and it leaves like a nightmare. So the energy of Neptune, it's just so nebulous, it's so elusive, it's so tricky to me. So that's my personal beef with Neptune. So I am pretty happy that it's getting out of my main modality, and I do have recommendations, like lived recommendations to share with those of you who have a major Neptune transit on the horizon, because those are quite interesting. I'll tell you that. They definitely have their gifts, but they definitely are interesting, and I packed a lot of that within that video, so go check that out. But I would just say with Neptune and Aries, really allow yourself to dive into your dreams, what it is that you envision, what it is that you imagine, and see what it would look like to believe that you could bring those things into reality. Delusion that works out is kind of the energy of Neptune and Aries, because you do have to be delusional a lot of times to succeed. To succeed is delusional, right? It might seem delusional to want to be a filmmaker, but again, if everyone thought it was too delusional to be a filmmaker, there would be no movies. If it's gonna be someone out there, why would it not be you? And being very conscious not to be the first one to tell yourself no. This world can be cruel and harsh and mean. All of these Neptune transits this week, you could be feeling more emotional, you could be feeling more sensitive. We also have that Chiron square. The world is harsh, right? Within the vibe check, it's like everyone's saying, I don't know if that's a great idea. All of those harsh events, getting laid off, and this person breaking up with you. It's like life is a lot and it's hard. And this world can be cruel and mean and judgmental. Don't be the first one to tell yourself no. This world will tell you no. This world can tell you your films aren't good. It's not realistic to go down this particular path, but you need to tell yourself yes, even when other people tell you no, in order to give yourself permission to try. Again, I'm not saying it's feasible for all of us this week to go across country and pursue our wildest dreams, but to see where it is that your desires have been picked for you from the divine, and to allow yourself to take that step to actualize them is truly the nudge with Neptune and Aries. And again, the voice that will help us climb to the mountaintops of our wildest desires will not be the voice that keeps us safe, right? It will not be the voice that keeps us from getting our feelings hurt. And there's a recognition of that. You know, yesterday's solar eclipse was answering to Mars, who is separating from Chiron. The moon aligns with Chiron early today. So certainly there's sore spots being activated. There is insecurities activated as you contemplate this new beginning. But it's around, what voice am I tuning into? And if you have an option, tune into the voice that's a little, delusional, the energy of Neptune. Like you have to, a little delusional, the energy of Neptune. Successful people have to be a little delusional. Okay, anyone who starts things and creates things has to be a little delusional. Like Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. To create something that does not exist, you have to be delusional. You have to believe in a world outside of this one in order to think, hey, what if there was like a traffic light, right? Or, hey, what if there was a blanket with arms? A Snuggie, right? The creator of Snuggie was quite delusional, I'm sure. Do you ever have a Snuggie? Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like this infomercial thing. It was a rage for a moment there. I wonder if Snuggies are still a thing. I had a cheetah Snuggie. Let me know if you had a Snuggie. And if the creator of Snuggie happens to be watching at this particular time, I'm so sorry to call you delusional. But truly, anyone who invents something, you have to be a little delusional. You have to tell yourself yes, even when other people tell you no. That's how you find yourself waking up into a life of your wildest imagination and dreams, truly. And the moon, after it meets up with Chiron, it will square Mars. So again, there could be some kind of like hurt feelings, tenderness, again, sensitivity, but it could be coming out in a way where other people are going on the offense, like if they feel like you're coming for them, they're coming for you, or something like this, but it could be coming from a more sensitive or wounded space. The moon will enter Taurus midday, so great to relax, to luxuriate, to meal prep. The moon is squaring Pluto, so there could be some Sunday scaries, some fears for the future, but just remember, it truly doesn't do any good to fear the future, panic about the future, obsess about the future. I know it's not so easy. I know it's not a light switch, and if there is something that you desire, an experience that you want to have, you could think around all the possible scenarios of what it could have in store. Your mind could be trying to prepare you for your worst fears realized. But at the end of the day, you truly will not know until you try, until you take that risk, take the jump. And I want to be so clear, just as we wrap up Magic Monday, I am not insinuating that we all need to make a major risk and move across country and make these major decisions this week. We have retrogrades. Eclipses will make it very clear where it is that you're being launched forward. Like if you are being eclipsed or a major change is being thrust on you, it will feel like there was no other option, truly. It's like, yes, you heard out Lindsay and you heard out your brother and you thought about it, but it's like, my job laid me off, this person broke up with me. It seems like this town is pushing me out. Like sometimes you'll feel that within your life around, it just feels like I have no choice but to walk down this path. Even if it is the riskier path, that's what I'm being guided towards. And that's how you'll feel if you are meant to make some sort of major change this eclipse season, is it will feel like there is no other option, and you don't need to force things. The universe is working with you. You will know when you are meant to take that leap. But my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I believe in myself. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It is around self. It is around identity. And with the energy of Neptune, you can view yourself around the lens around, I am a loser or I am a winner. And if you view yourself like a winner, you're more likely to win. If you view yourself like a loser, you're more likely to lose. Whether you tell yourself you can or you cannot, you're right. And it all starts with you and how it is that you view yourself and the desires and the dreams you give yourself permission to move towards. A lot of people will say that it's not realistic because, again, they're viewing it from their charts, from their perspective. There are a lot of things that are not realistic. I'm sure the creator of Snuggie was told the same thing. And that's where it gets important to believe in yourself. Like that's where this Aries trailblazer energy comes from, is this energy to have the courage to carve and trailblaze new paths for yourself, to forge new realities for yourself. And it takes believing in yourself. And so my love, if you made it to the end of and if you saw the pure fear that just went through my eyes, it was because this is the portion of the video where I select the emoji of the week, what you drop below to let me know that you did in fact make it to the end of the video. And I was gonna say the movie emoji, and then I was like, oh God, I think that was last week. It was like, I must have talked about movies last week as well, because fun fact about Magic Monday and just my filming style altogether, and I know a lot of you do something similar, so let me know if you're the same way, but I completely forget everything that I say after I'm done filming. Like it just truly whoosh, like out of my brain. There's so many times I connect with you all in consultations or within self-care astrology, and you'll say, you know, I'm so moved by this particular experience that you shared from your life, or can you repeat that quote that you shared last week? And I'm like, I shared that? I said that? Like truly it just comes through. I don't know. And then it just vacates my mind. So I'm so sorry if last week we talked a lot about movies. I don't recall what exactly we talked about, but if the emoji was the movie emoji, I'm sure that was a topic. You know, Neptune just always gonna bring up movies for me. I don't know. But regardless, that won't be our emoji of the week. This week, our emoji of the week will be the suitcase emoji to represent moving or stepping into this new chapter or setting flight, what have you. And if you are watching on a desktop or you don't have emojis or you like to play the word game, use the word suitcase within a sentence. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCommentAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. Make sure to check out the Aries Solar Eclipse all signs forecast and the Neptune and Aries all signs forecast, both of which will be posted to my channel so long as Mercury retrograde is cooperating. But until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.